Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon for those of you joining us from the Eastern time zone. My name is Carl Sand. I'm the product marketing manager here at Ytria. Welcome to our webinar that's going to focus on breaking free from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center portals, a better, more modern way to manage your environments using a GUI interface. I'm joined today, pleased to be joined by Eric Hoofnagel. He's an expert on our solution set. He'll be doing the deep dive demonstration and also helping me with some technical Q&A. So agenda for today. For those of you that don't know Ytria, we'll just do a quick introduction, a little bit of background on the company. We've been in this business for quite a while, you'll see. I want to talk quickly about what challenges you guys are dealing with when you're managing your Microsoft 365 environment or multi-tenant environments if you handle more, or if you have a hybrid environment. The different options available for you for administration, and then talk about the solution that we bring to the table. So if you read the kind of introduction synopsis of this webinar, there's viable alternatives to using the Microsoft Admin Center portals, and we are one of those alternatives. We'll go through that. Then a fairly deep, all-inclusive demonstration of the tool set, and then plenty of time for Q&A after a little recap. So let me go ahead and get things started. Ytria has been in business for just over 20 years. So started building administration tools in the IBM space for Lotus Notes and Domino. Made it all the way up to just over 2,500 customers around the world in 82 countries. So pretty broad appeal for this. But as the market shifted, as you can imagine, Microsoft started taking over more and more and more. So we, of course, transitioned, took all of our great features, functionality, and ported them into the Microsoft space, especially focused on Microsoft 365. So about 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, we launched version 1 of the tool set you're about to hear about today. And we're up to version 3 right now in 2024. So why? I'll let you take a look at that graphic there and you'll understand why. Managing Microsoft 365, they call it a platform, but what it really is a conglomeration of different workloads. Directory full of users, their permissions, their attributes, mail routing, then collaboration, file sharing in SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams on top of SharePoint, all the different groups available to manage that. And then you have to take care of the tenants and everything else as well. So, I mean, it's no surprise that Microsoft doesn't have just one admin center for you to manage the whole thing, because it really is a bunch of separate components, all kind of muddled together in a single license called Microsoft 365. So you have the Teams Admin Center, the OneDrive Admin Center, the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So it's no surprise that it's a complex environment to manage and administer. And that's why there's so many headaches. That's why we hear these complaints all the time from other IT administrators that are looking for a better, more efficient way to manage their environment. They're sick and tired of doing all these updates one at a time, not being able to see everything in the same UI, the same screen. They have to continually switch between different admin center portals, download data from one, merge it with downloaded data from another to create a report. And it's really complicated to securely delegate access and tasks to other administrators or the help desk that you want to help out. And it's even better or worse on your perspective. There's marketing, advertising inside of these admin portals. This is a great little quote from a help forum response from June of last year. Somebody complaining about being slammed with advertising inside the admin centers. So you have options. What are the options? Well, option 1, don't do anything. Keep it, keep pulling that cart with square wheels on it and just do everything manually using the tools that Microsoft provides. But if you're in this webinar this is at least giving you a heads up so you realize there are round wheels available for you to modernize and optimize the way you manage your environment. Option two, you can build your own tool set like the one we have. You'll need somebody who looks like this, maybe not as hair-free or as grumpy looking as this, but somebody who's a PowerShell expert to write a lot of the own scripting. The problem, or the reason that he looks as grumpy as he is, because he understands the downside of PowerShell scripting. And it's these plus more. Microsoft is changing these modules all the time. So you have to continually test, update, recode, verify that your scripts work. Sometimes they even deprecate a whole module like they did recently. And then you have to switch over to the Graph API to make stuff work. So it's really the ongoing lifecycle management of a solution set. And it's a lot of headaches to keep it up to date. So what if there was a third option and a solution out there that would give you all of this in one single pane of glass? Full visibility of everything. I don't care if it's users, groups, their devices, all show it to me on one screen. Their licenses that they have, with their last login time, their MFA settings. Help me drill down, search for issues, troubleshoot them quickly. And if I find 5 that I want to fix, I don't want to fix them one at a time. Click on all 5 and make the updates you need to make. And the ability to delegate, securely delegate tasks to lower level administrators, people on the help desks that the trouble tickets come into. Let them fix the stuff instead of, putting it on the queue and passing it over to the senior admin. So this is a solution set that we came up with and we built it to help you guys out. Now it does so much stuff, it's difficult to explain. So I'm going to whip through this pretty quickly, and we've kind of divided or segregated the capabilities and features into 4 different categories to help you guys understand it. And then we'll jump into the demonstration with Eric. So real quick, just so you kind of understand everything that's underneath the covers inside this solution tool called Sapio 365, let's go around the horn here. So starting off with administration, it really is efficiency. Being able to do all this stuff in the background and automate as much as possible. So you can get your work done without having to, work overtime, spend nights and weekends at the office. Next, license management. This is a big headache for a lot of companies out there, having to keep an accurate inventory so that they're only paying Microsoft for what they really need, what they really use. So having a tool set that assists you with that to keep an accurate inventory is one of the big feathers in our cap. Next, security, compliance. There's all types of little, I call them needles in a haystack, things that are out there that you want to watch and make sure you fix them, remediate them right away when they pop up. And our tool, with its reporting and access to all the information, allows you to easily find this stuff, bubble it up to the surface, get an alert on it so you can get it fixed right away. And not only do we tell you about it, we also allow you inside of our solution to fix it. And then reporting. IT directors, IT managers, executives, they want reports from all over the place. And the Microsoft tools are not really built for, good, solid reporting on everything that's going on in your environment and the permission settings, usage, all that stuff. So our tool helps you do any type of custom reporting as well as full visibility of everything from a single screen for you. And as a case study, we have multiple of these. This is an interesting one. It's a, fairly small, medium-sized business, about 1,500 employees. They're an outdoor supply, landscaping vendor for all that type of stuff, based in Phoenix. And they have a couple administrators that didn't want to learn PowerShell, but they had a lot of updates they had to perform on a regular basis. So to have a tool to save them a lot of time and save them money on their licensing management, they loved it. So switching gears a little bit, thinking about time savings, I want you guys to put your thinking caps on here. And I'm actually going to open up a poll and let you vote on this specific question here in a second. And then we'll jump into the demonstration with Eric. How long does it take you today to onboard 5 users, put them in the right groups, the right distribution lists, give them the right license, set the right AD attributes for their department name, their location, their manager, apply the initial MFA settings, everything that goes in there. How do you do it specifically for them? Knowing that they're going to be in the finance department or in warehouse or manufacturing. How do you set all the right stuff for them and onboard them? And how long does it take? So before we get into the demo, let me open up the poll here and we'll ask you guys what you think. So hang on just a second. Here are the polls. The one I made, let's launch it. And you guys get to vote. So we'll take a few seconds while you submit your answers. A bit longer? Yeah, it looks like most of the folks are saying, yeah, so this is typical, Eric, of what we've seen before.
Yep.
All right, let me close this down real quick. And Eric, you can start sharing your screen.
So I'm here.
There you go. Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
Oh, and but before you start, Eric, let me just make sure everybody knows. Sorry, I forgot to mention this in the beginning. But if you do have a question, I don't want you to forget the question. If you wait to the end, it might slip. So please put it in the chat window, and we'll log all of those and get them answered at the end. But use the chat window if you want to post any questions. We might be able to answer them quickly there, but for sure we'll keep them on the listing and answer them all at the end.
Okay. So welcome to SAP 65. So SAP 65 is a desktop application working on my computer. I'm currently connected with 2 sessions at the same time. I could have as many sessions as I want. And as you can see, so it gives you, remember the chart that Carl was showing about, all the bubbles. So here it shows you all the entry points to get access to all these bubbles, all this information you can have on Office 365. So first thing I'm going to do is just simply seeing my users. So I'm going to go to all my users. So this is SAP 65, the logic behind the tool. It's a grid that will show you the maximum properties we can grab from Microsoft. So here, for example, in the case of the users, we are talking about more than 200 properties all together in one place. So no need to go on multiple portal to see what you're looking for. So by default, we show you a first set of information, but at any time, you can choose and add the information you want to see inside of the grid. So you can really organize the grid the way you want and put it the way you want and the way the information you want to have. How it works is either you create your own, I would say, presentation, own view, or you use some of the view we provide by default. So to give you an example, for example, here we have a view that is oriented on the mailbox information, about sharing, the delegation, etc. Or I can have another view that is going to give me some information about my OneDrive, so what is the situation of the OneDrive of the user. Then another way to look at it is to create your own view, so to create your own set of information. So the objective here is I'm going to I want to have a vision of my users and use the last signing information here to see, so when did they sign in and to see who didn't sign for a long time. So to do that, simply one thing, I'm going to group. So I'm going to group by this information. So if I collapse that all together, it's all grouped by date. You're going to tell me, okay, yeah, really not handy, but I can change the format. So I'm going to change the group format here and say, okay, now I'm going to have a vision which is more handy. So now I got a vision with definitely has a more meaning right away about who effectively did logged in lately in this tenant. So now after that, inside of that, there is some information I don't care. For example, okay, blocked user, yeah, I don't care. They're blocked anyway, so I want to get them out. So I'm going to do a filter. Say, okay, I don't want to see the blocked users. If I have guest, well, guest is not under my control. So I'm going to remove here and say, okay, I'm only looking for the members. Okay, I'm going to apply a filter here. So I don't know if you see the counter change here. Here we have some counters. Also, I have some who never sign in, so I don't care about that either. I'm going to filter out everything that is under, so who doesn't have any signing dates. So now I got a better vision of so who's effectively signing in, and now if on that I want to focus on the one who didn't sign in more than 2 months. I'm going to use the same logic with a filter. So I cutoff date filter here, hide. So I don't want to see that is something that is, so the sooner. So I don't want to see the last 2 months. I want to see what's older from that. And voila. So now in one quick way, so I already organized the data the way I want. I did the filtering I needed. So I have a quick vision of my situation on the login of my user. I don't want to redo that every time. So what I can do here, I can create a new view and call that users, old user without signing. Typo up. And I'm going to apply that. So now I created a view, the widget signing. So I created a view that is now available. So next time I open SAP 365, we have the ability to just put that here, apply my view, and see exactly what I want to look here. And we give you the ability even to do some report on that. So you could schedule that, so it sends you a report if you find some old users or stuff like that. So it's really, the idea is really that is to organize the data the way you want. It's pretty easy to organize the report with the information that matters to you. And from here, after that, you can reuse the report or even share the report among you to organize, so to have access to the data the way you want. To give you some example, I created
you can
some
export
views.
this too, right? Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's a good point.
But
yes.
yeah, show them real quick how easy it is to pull this information out and put it in Excel or something else.
I'm going to export that here, save, and it's going to put that in Excel. It's going to open here. Now I got my Excel file, and this is my export.
Oh, fast.
So you export what you see. So it's free. So it's definitely what you see is what you get. And so you can choose the columns you want and the ones you don't want, and to organize the report you want. A few other examples. For example, I created a view that focus on the blocked users only, which has a license, which has a value, so something that costs us money. So to see, okay, who are these people and what kind of license I have assigned to people who are blocked, and in fact, I'm paying for nothing. Another one could be this one. Another view I created is MFA methods. So here I have a vision of users by the MFA methods they use so they have enabled on their profile. And so from here, I will have the ability to first analyze the situation and to get rid, maybe on some old one I don't want to be used anymore because they are risky, like the SMS. I have another one that is going, for example, give me the shared mailbox here, and who has a license, so I can see the license point of view from a shared mailbox.
That's a good one.
What else is also, I can have some views that give me the ability to focus on what I want. So here, for example, I'm focusing only on the user who have a license that costs money, so not like the free one and everything. So I only have my users that have a full license. So here, what can I do? So we saw how we could organize the data, choose what we want to see, select among the 200 properties and organize your information. Then the next step, the interesting part with SAP 365, is then after that you can edit, you can change, you can manipulate the information. So let's say I want to change the department of these 4 guys. So I selected here operation. I'm going to click on edit. Here I have a full list of all the property I can change. And inside here, I'm going to say that these guys are going to be now in the dev operation department. And I'm applying. As you can see, he applied, so I see my modification right away, but he didn't really send that to Office 365 yet. So you can check what you did before to validate that your modification you have makes sense, and what you did, what you wanted. And then after that, this is where you can apply, and this is when effectively you're going to send that to Office 365 to apply the modification, which you just did. So now Office 365 has been updated and the change has been changed. So the difference from this with, for example, a PowerShell script usually what it does a modification. So this is what I call execute and pray, because if you made any kind of mistake, you will know that you have a mistake after when it's done. It's too late.
And then you have to go undo it and
do
it again.
So this is one thing on the level of the users, but the interesting part after that is that you see you have multiple action, but then after you can navigate. So a good one is, for example, the group membership. So if I click on that, what happens is I'm going to see all the members, so all the groups these 4 users are member of, so and with the type of them. And from there, I will have the ability to do some action. So for example, I can say that, in fact, Alan shouldn't be part of this group. So I'm going to just say, okay, remove that guy from this group. Same here. Modification has not been applied yet. It will be applied when I said so. I can add people, so I can add groups. So I can say, okay, I want to add groups to these users. By default, it will show you the current groups listed here, but I can ask to see the full directory of it and just apply that, make my modification. And here I can see I have new groups ready to be applied. So this is here, and just clicking save will apply that to all the users at once. So this is for one part, but interesting part also it's about we have the license, so being able to see the details of the license and the plans they have. We will have the OneDrive. OneDrive is interesting, so we'll be able to look at these users and here ask to see the content like a file explorer of the OneDrive. So I will have the list of all the content of the OneDrive of my users, what kind of files they have, is it shared? I can have permission information, how does it share that? And after I can act on that, I can remove some file, I can download some file, upload some file. So it's a full management of the story, of the information. And the same, here you see I have message. So this means that I can have access to the mailbox. And from here, for example, I can choose to see the mail from the last 7 days and select even put some specific feature if I'm looking for a specific mail or a specific event to be able to correct a situation, remove an attachment, etc. So it's really a full access on the users. And you can go really deep in the system to get access to all this information. So if I go back to my default view, so here this is all my users. So I'm going to do a grouping by department here. Going to collapse that all together. I'm going to focus on this department specifically. So the story is the following. I need to onboard some users. So there is some new users in this department. So I need to onboard these users from the same department as Clark and Levine. So how can I do that? I could do that all manually. So onboarding means setting license, groups membership, some roles, some access, etc. But so I can do that manually, or we can use what we call the job. So the job, it's in an easy way. So it's an automation. Everything you do in SAP 365 can be automated. You can create some kind of macro, some jobs that will give you the ability to do multiple action at once. A really nice one is the onboarding. So let me show you what we do with that.
And it's using those 2 selected users basically as a template, right?
Exactly.
Eric?
Yeah. So I selected these 2 users to use them as a base to know what I need to do after for the new users. So here in this case, I'm going to use an Excel file. So this is my Excel file. I got 2 names where is the base basic information about these users. So mostly, first name, last name, display name, username, title, the basic. Okay. And so what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to use this file. I'm going to paste some properties from the users, selected users, if I want to, and I can select which one I want, which one I don't want. I'm going to assign the same license as this two user has. So when we're talking about the same license, is going to, since I selected two users, is going what is common to the two users. So it's a way to look at a specific, okay, what is common to all my group? So I'm going to apply the same thing. So same thing for the group membership. So I'm going to apply the same group membership. I can set some full access on the mailbox. I'm going to enforce the legacy MFA. I want to be sure that this is enforced. I can assign a manager on the fly. Here I'm going to assign a manager. And here what I ask, I'm going to ask that is going to export the users using a specific view I created here that mostly give me first name, last name, email, password, because I need to have the password somewhere. I'm going to apply that. So it launch, start. So the first thing is it goes to the selection. So grab the information about what is the license that has been applied. So and is it still available? Do we have a space for that? What are the groups? There, the two person I selected are member of. And now I get to the part, okay, about the file. So here the idea is that we don't enforce any structure of the file to be imported. So you deploy, you set how you match. So there is, we don't care. We don't care about the format. You will do the mapping. We try to do the mapping for you. So we try to find what's relevant. And when it is, and then when it is set after, and it's going to keep that. So if you keep the same format again, you won't have to redo that each time. And now I'm going to just say, okay, let's use a file. Yes, use the mapping I have, and now he goes. So he's creating the user. So since we're adding license, adding groups, setting MFA, so the problem is in this situation, we need to first create the user, save it, so then I can apply a license, then I can apply the group, then I can set the manager. So this is what the system is doing here, you see? It's creating the users, it's applying the license. Once it's created and saved, and the user are effectively created, is going to apply the license he found, he's going to apply the group membership is found, is going to assign the manager. So here it just assigns the manager to the two selected users. So here it's reloading the information just to check that effectively everything went correctly. Because yeah, sometimes stuff doesn't work because shit happens, you can say. So here at least
it's
tell you
a live demo.
Happened.
But one thing I wanted to make sure everybody understood, Eric, if you want to expand on this, is that it's customizable, right? Depending on their onboarding process, they can select those options in that window there.
It's what I call it's a Chinese menu. So you choose what you want to do.
Yep.
You select the options. There's nothing is forced here. And this is done. It is done. So I created two groups. He said what he found. He found some groups. He created the two users. He applies the license. He applied two groups. He saved the measure on the two users and for the legacy. So everything has been done in 3 minutes. What happened is, if I go here, so he's going to open a new Excel file. So this Excel file, in fact, is a kind of, it shows you all the details of what he found and what he applied. So if you want to go further and to see, so what effectively, why he chose this license and not the other, here you will see what he found and what he considered as correct in this report. And the other file I was mentioning, and I was talking about, the other file I was talking about is the file he created. Sorry, lots of windows here.
Oh, this is the one with the password in it.
And this is the file that has been generated with the password to be used to monitor, send that to somebody and everything. We have customers, what they do, they plug that in some OneDrive that after is taken over by some Power App to send some emails to people if you need to. It's an Excel file. You do whatever you want with that.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. So this is for the users. So interesting.
Offboarding, there's an offboarding, a similar type of job that allows you to select multiple users and do the whole offboarding process.
Exactly. So if I go on the offboarding, the same logic is on the selection, multi-selection. And this is where you will have all the options about what you want to do on this offboarding action. So, do you want to check if there is effectively a manager, because you want to be sure that there is a manager on the offboarded user. So somebody can take care of some, mail OneDrive eventually if you need. So the basic, I want to block the signing, reset the password, revoke the access, rename the display name to put a prefix so I can see them easily. I want to convert right away the mailbox as a shared mailbox. I want to define if the mail will be forwarded automatically to another place. Mail delegation, so I want to provide to the mailbox some delegation to some specific users. I can provide some full access to this mailbox and remove the license. Remove the roles. You can have
the groups,
all the groups. Download the OneDrive. So you can say, okay, I want to download the OneDrive locally and upload that automatically to some groups, some teams, for example, some team channel. We have some customer who does that. So they take the OneDrive and they upgrade that and put that on Teams. So this is the full. So it's you choose. You choose the menu, and at the end you can say, and this is the way I do every time. So if I click Save Current Configuration, next time I will launch that, it will reuse the same configuration.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
So all that was with my cloud users, but in the reality, usually people have some hybrid environment. And this is where SAP 365 can be really interesting because, for example, here's the tenant I'm using is a hybrid tenant. And I can from here directly load the AD information from the on-prem. So I'm going to use this action, the on-prem user, I'm going to use that. So what he did here, he created, as you can see, he added some columns in the system. And there is an important one, which is this one, the sync status. So if I group, so I'm going to ungroup the department. I don't care about that anymore. And I'm going to group by sync status. Okay, thank you. If I collapse, now I can have a global vision of my users. So which are pure cloud, they're only on cloud. Which are on pure on-prem, they don't exist anywhere else, but only on the AD. And which one are sync. So here on the same line, in one line here, I will have the information on the cloud. So if I go here just to show you, expand everything, collapse everything first and expand that, I get all the on-premises fields and information I can get from the AD, and all that is on the same place. You don't have to check on two different places and try to understand what's happening. You get everything at the same place altogether. If I want to edit a user, if I click on that, it's going to provide me the ability to choose, okay, which part do you want to edit? Because some stuff you need to edit on the cloud. For example, usually everything that's mailbox, it's cloud. But everything that's pure user is going to be on-prem. So here I can say, okay, I want to change some on-prem information. And from here, I'm going to, maybe not a fax. Who has a fax today? And changing the office. So I just changed the office of these users. So for this Emily office has been changed, and I'm going to apply. So by doing that, it's going to apply the information directly on premise. Okay, which is coming. Okay, done. So now it's changed, and so it's going to synchronize. So it synchronize what every usually 3 minutes. I know some customer has 2 hours. Time frame for the synchronization. But one thing you can do here is you have the ability to say, I want to push that now. So I'm going to, if I click on that, it's going to force a synchronization process on the AD, on the AD Connect server, so to process that with the cloud. So that's for the users. Remember on the first screen, I got more than that. This is users, but I have more than that. I have groups, teams, and everything. So if I click on that, and I'm going to look at my groups, same here. So same logic, same grid, lots of properties. If I go here, I select the groups, I can see there is a lot of information available for the groups. I will have the ability to do the same, grouping, organizing. I got some views to show my different information. I have the ability to edit some stuff. I have the ability to get the on-premise groups also and to check which one are synchronized and not. I can go and navigate in the details. So I have the members, that's the biggest one. So this is an interesting one. So here, so you see you have a global picture of all the members and owners of your groups. And from there, you have the ability to say, okay, well, this guy shouldn't be the owner. I'm going to demote this guy, but this guy should be the owner. I'm going to promote this guy. And this guy, so this person, but he doesn't access anymore. I'm going to remove this person from the group. And that's it. Same as before, nothing is applied until I said so. So I can check that what I'm doing is correct. Yeah, it makes sense. And after I can just apply my modification to the system. I will have the ability for teams to go check the files, to check the channels, so I can navigate through all this data using Zapier 65 definitely. And the on-premise, as I said, so if I click on that, I will get the on-premise information on all these users all together. So I can see which groups are pure locally, which group are pure cloud, and which group are effectively synchronizing between my AD and my cloud. So usually it's distribution security and distribution list are the ones that you are going to see synchronizing. Sorry.
I was talking to one of our customers last week, Eric. One of the jobs in the job center for groups that they really like is the comparison one, where you can select multiple groups and compare the membership, so you can, synchronize or at least keep them in tandem.
So here what I did, I just filtered out everything that is not a team. So I just want to focus on my teams. And, you see I have multiple project teams. It's a demo tenant. I want to compare these three members of, so I'm going to use a job for that. So compare, if I go here, compare, and I see compare group member. Yes, I want to compare group members. I'm going to set, okay, Geranium is the main one, that's the boss. I want to check extraneous members, and I want to see only what's extra or missing. So I'm going to do okay on that. It's going to open the groups and show me in the end the result of the situation. And here we are. So this is my reference. This is the reference number 1. So my project Geranium. And here it tells me that in Gizmo 1, very quickly it tells me this guy, so use the extraneous guy, you see? Extraneous is, this guy are extra to the reference, but this guy are missing from the reference. And here we have an extra and a missing. So it takes you a few minutes, a few seconds to get the information here. When doing that manually can take some time just by comparing this list together. Another interesting one, for example, on the jobs that we created is this one here. If I go back to my, not this one, sorry. Up, user with department, this is my view. Okay, so I got my views here, and what I want to see, so I'm going to do something. I just want to focus on my cloud one, so I don't care about this guy. Okay. And so the idea here is the answer is to see, okay, I have multiple domain linked to my tenant. So who's using which domain, and what is my situation? Did we migrated everybody? Not yet, yes or no. So what I can do is select my user and say here, so if I type domain, I will see that there is a show selected user all mail and domain information. So let's say if I focus only on the per-sample users, or I could also do a validation on the email and the aliases. So I'm going to focus on the domain only. So the way it's going to process every entry, and he created a new column here. So now if I select here, now I can see that, in fact, okay, we have a domain, a custom domain applied to use to connect, but I still have 487 users that are still using the on Microsoft entry to be able to connect. If I need to change that, as you can see, I have the ability to change some domain, so I have the ability to do some modification about the domain on my users. Another one is also, so let's remove that grouping here. And we have one for the license based food-based license analysis. So what it does here is going to check how So you see here, so what he did, he went to, because we have the information about how the license has been assigned to the user. Is it assigned by a group, or is it by a group membership, or is it assigned directly to the user? Sometimes you can have some situation where the license is applied both in two sides. So you remove him from the group, but still have the license because you didn't see that he has a license directly assigned to him. Here, what he does, he goes through and analyze. So here I have a situation where I have some users who are group-based license, but in fact, they're only group-based license, so it's clean. So they don't have any license assigned directly. It's the only license assigned through groups. But here I will be able to see which one have no incorrect situation I want to fix. So remove a license I shouldn't have.
And during the slide presentation, one of the things that I brought up is the delegation capabilities to allow, lower level admins or help desk folks to have, their own separate controlled login using role-based access.
So as I said, I'm already logged in 2 users. I'm logging also as Lee. So Lee is a basic user by default. He doesn't have any access to the tenant, but he has been provided a role that gives him the ability to access certain users and be able to do certain action on these users. So as you can see, I don't have my 500 users. I only have a 58 because this Lee guy can only manage the users that are in the engineering department. I choose department, could be anything you want. It's any properties can be a filter, so you can define everything you want on the filtering part here, and to define what is the scope you can work on. And the other thing also that has been restricted here is what he can do on these users. As you can see, most of my action as gray out. The only thing I can do as Lee is I can only reset password or revoke access, and that's it. I don't have the ability to edit the user. I don't have the ability to change some manager and everything. So you can really reduce the access of what can be done by the specific user and delegate access without having to set them as an admin.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I was talking about jobs. So the job I show was jobs that were kind of what I call contextual. So they are from a specific selection you are working on. But there is also jobs that are more generic. So working on a full tenant or even on multiple tenant at once. So here you have multiple jobs. So we have about 200, not 200, 180 job available that will give you the ability to do some reporting, some analysis. A good one is, for example, offboarding. So if you go here, so if I click on that, it's going to execute the job now and it's going to do the work. But the interesting part is all these jobs here can be scheduled. So if I go here and I can say, okay, I want to schedule that. So for example, I could say, okay, I want to schedule one time. And here I'm going to say, okay, who's going to do the job? So which session has to be used? What kind of notification I want to get? And after that, here in the case of this job, I can select a user to be off board. So the ID is going to deactivate the user I selected, and it will do that on a specific time.
Question just came up in the chat window that I think is perfect to cover here about them creating their own automation jobs.
Yes, definitely you can. You can take any of the existing jobs. You can download that. So I'm going to show you that quickly. I won't get in detail, but the important part is that job center. This is a job center. If I click on that, I go to some kind of advanced mode, so design mode, and from here I will have the ability to export an existing job, to change it, or I can create one from scratch. It's a pretty basic language, and we have a lot of help available in the documentation about how to create a job, and definitely we help a lot, because if we see that the job you try to create can be useful for others, we will be more than happy to create the job for you.
And then make it available for other customers around the world.
Yep.
Share the love. All right. Thank you, Eric. That was a really good representation. Let me share my screen. We'll cover just a little bit of recap, guys, and then we'll go into Q&A. I'd see a bunch of really good questions popping into the chat window, so thanks. Let me know when you can see my screen, okay, Eric?
Yep, you're all good.
Cool. So just to recap, guys, I came up with that term about a month or two ago. Supercharge your administrators and yourself. Help you save a lot of time. Give everything all visibility from a single UI, whether it's devices or groups or SharePoint sites, team sites, user account stuff, all in a single pane of glass. And as Eric showed you, bulk updates, onboarding, offboarding, you don't have to write a single line of PowerShell. And I mean, the reason we have 198 of these automated jobs in there is because we've had these requests from other customers and MSPs from around the world, and we constantly update that list and build out all this automation to help you guys save a boatload of time and to delegate it down and spread the love out in a controlled way that's totally logged for auditing to the help desk or other less experienced administrators. Super easy to install. It's an application that runs on your desktop. You can share the data in a shared database if you want, but it's all in your environment. It's not a hosted application. We don't have access to any of this data, which makes us unique compared to some of the other options that are out there on the market. So next steps, we do allow a free evaluation trial for a week or two. So contact me. My email address is coming up on the next slide. We have a bunch of case studies. You want to read use cases, cost savings, time savings, analysis reports. If you want to know the whole security architecture of how the solution is set up, we're happy to share all that information with you guys. So moving on to the Q&A session right now, there's a couple questions that we get all the time. So let me go through those first with Eric's help, and then we'll move on to the ones that you guys are putting into the chat window. So here's your chance. While it's still fresh in your mind, put your questions into the chat window while we cover these first couple. The first one, Eric, do you want to answer this one and explain how all the activities and actions taken in the system are logged?
Everything, so every action you do in SAP 365 is going to be, but there is two level of logs. So SAP 365 logs its own action. So every time you change something, if someone is using a role admin section, a role session, which is going to be logged down, and knowing that you have the Office 365 log by itself, so you have two level of logs. But yeah, SAP 365 is on log. You can even have we implemented a help desk ticket number system, so you can assign, so you can force any action to be assigned a ticket number if you need to follow up on that. Yeah,
that's great for auditing purposes. The next one. How's the data security kind of managed within the system to make sure it's compliant?
So SAP 365 is an application. It doesn't require created some credential users or whatever. We use the Microsoft 365 credential itself. So if you log in, you just use your credential to log in your tenant. If you're using MFA, if you're using some key, so everything is working. And for the delegation, so if we have the ability to create some specific account, so service account, to be able to delegate this service account to some users. But so there is it's not an overlay of security. We use your current security.
Right, so they log in with their actual Microsoft credentials, and it's all logged that way. So you know exactly who did what, when, not just the actions taken, but what they viewed, information that they viewed as well. Cool. Thanks, Eric. You want to quickly scroll through the chat window? I think there was one related to APIs. Do we have any APIs available yet to interact with SAPIO 365?
But it's going to be what we call the automation, the job system. This is our API, so it's a pretty basic language, and so it's really macro language. And you can launch SAP 365 and automatically preset some action in it with by preloaded some action. So don't forget, it's a desktop application, so it runs on a computer. But yeah, with the automation, you can interact with SAP 365 in different ways.
Well, I remember another question that came up from Nick was around integration with other like help desk troubling ticket systems that managed service providers, MSPs, use. A common one is Halo PSA. Another one is ConnectWise. Do we have any integrations with those guys planned for the future?
It's something we are planning to do, yes, for this year. It's not there yet. So we have the login. So objective will be to broad up the login we get and bring it up to this platform. And setting some entry points from the platform to launch automatically SAP 365, that's pretty easy to do. And pushing back the logs about the action is something that can be done, but we haven't developed anything yet for that.
Good. Eric, scrolling through the list there, do you see any other questions that have popped in that I missed?
There is a question about taking inventory about externally shared content. So as you saw, we were able to see OneDrive. So all the drive, in fact, the OneDrive, the drive inside of the Teams, the drive inside of the SharePoint sites. So seeing what is shared there, it's something that you can be easily done with SAP 365. Looking at how you have, so as Sonia was mentioning, is seeing guests who's been shared with who, how it is been shared. So you have access to all this information, yes.
Yeah, and stuff that's been shared anonymously.
Yep.
out to other people. That's a good one.
There was a question on security reports. I don't know if you noticed, but there is some access to the different reports, signing reports, activity reports, so the admin reports, and the usage reports. So all that are mostly our reports. So we go and grab the information from Office 365 and we put them inside of our UI, which is a grid that gives you the ability to do after the analysis on the report you need to do with that.
And then customize that report however you want to make it look.
Exactly.
Export it if you need to. Excellent. Is that the last question on the chat window?
So download and to share with other people, yes, you can download. We have the collaboration. So the collaboration, the way it works is that everyone has SAP 365 and they are connected together through usually what we use is a database we're going to instantiate in your tenant, so in your Azure. So it's going to be used to share the configuration. So you can share configuration, you can put any kind of annotation inside of any grid and share that with other users. You can share jobs, you can see what they do, you can have some airbag security set here. So it's a full collaboration node with that, yeah. So it's standalone or it can be collaborative, in fact.
Excellent.
And multi-tenant, yes, multi-tenant, it's part of the logic of SAP 365. You can have 10 session, 20 session, open all at the same time, choose. For MSP, we also handle partner access sessions, so you don't have to log in, log out, you just use your partner access to connect to the tenant of your customer. So all that is done pretty easily.
Yes, you don't have to hand around global admin rights to different folks. Yeah, that's a no-no. Yeah, so it's a popular tool for MSPs that have more than 2, 3, 5 customer tenants that they have to manage. That's a huge headache with the admin center portals, constantly context switching and relogging in, logging off out of those credentials that the customer provides. Thank you, Eric. That's really good.
Something we didn't really, I think, emphasize is that it's a desktop application. So you're connecting from your computer to your tenants with an S. So nothing goes out. It's between your computer and your environment. We at Whitetria will never have access to any of your data ever, because it doesn't have to use any of our server or any of that. It's really something that's fully secured. It's a bubble. It's your bubble. We don't have access to your bubble ever.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you for mentioning that, Eric. Okay, so if you guys want more information, you can access our website, whitetria.com, find tons of stuff up there about Sapio 365. If you want to interact with me directly to request a trial, or if you want a deep dive demo with me again and Eric, please reach out, Carl_Sand at whitetree.io, or just send it into our generic contact list, customer@whitetree.com. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I will be creating kind of an edited version of this as a video recording, and I will send that email out tomorrow or Monday. As soon as I can get our graphic editor to create it for me, and you can share it around with your colleagues that weren't able to attend today. Thank you once again, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.